For 40 years, you have been lied to about the absolute most important organ in your chest. You have been told to fear eggs. You have been told to banish butter. You have swallowed pill after pill to lower a number on a lab report, terrified that if you do not, you will drop dead of silent heart attack in your sleep or right after waking up in the morning. But after a decade of standing in the operating room, staring at the raw truth of human anatomy, I have a confession that will shake the foundation of everything you thought you knew about your cardiovascular health. The guidelines that dictated those dietary bans are drastically outdated for anyone over the age of 60. The true enemy destroying your arteries is completely ignored during those rushed, 10-minute appointments where your doctor simply prescribes another medication instead of treating the root cause. It is not the bacon on your plate, and it is certainly not your cholesterol. There is a silent, microscopic fire burning inside your blood vessels right now, and the standard advice you're given does absolutely nothing to put it out. In fact, focusing purely on lowering cholesterol while ignoring this hidden trigger is like trying to extinguish a blazing house fire with a teacup. The real culprit is something you likely experience every single day, completely unaware that it is slowly stiffening your vascular system and stealing your vitality. We're going to expose exactly what that is, and more importantly, how you can start reversing the damage tonight using a simple technique that empowers you to take control of your own health. I am Dr. Marcus Caldwell. As a cardiothoracic surgeon, I have spent the last decade in the operating room quite literally holding beating human hearts in my hands. I have seen the devastating aftermath of a medical system that treats you like mere numbers, rushing you out the door after a 10-minute consultation with nothing but a new prescription. That is exactly why I am here. I created this channel because you deserve the truth about your health, not just another pill. If you want to protect your independence and learn how to advocate for yourself, hit the subscribe button right now. Join our community of people who refuse to be ignored by the traditional system. Click the bell icon so you never miss the information I share every week. Now, let us uncover the real enemy behind your cardiovascular risk. And I promise you, what happened to your health up until now is entirely not your fault. For decades, the medical establishment has pointed a very stern finger at you and your diet. You sit in a cold clinic room, and a rushed physician glances at your lab results for exactly 2 seconds before scribbling a prescription. You're told your cholesterol is too high. You're told you need to cut out the foods you grew up eating. But here is the brutal reality of those outdated guidelines. The war on cholesterol was built on flawed science from half a century ago, and the modern healthcare system is simply too overwhelmed, too focused on seeing 40 patients a day to correct the narrative. The true enemy is not the cholesterol floating in your bloodstream. Cholesterol is actually a vital healing substance your body produces to repair cellular damage. Blaming cholesterol for heart disease is like blaming the firefighters for the fire, just because they're always present at the scene of the emergency. The actual enemy, the microscopic fire I mentioned earlier, is chronic systemic inflammation. And this inflammation is heavily driven by the ultra-processed oils and hidden sugars that the food industry pumped into our diets when the medical community told us to stop eating natural fats. But instead of sitting down and explaining this complex biological shift that happens in our bodies as we age, the system relies on the 7-minute consultation. It is faster to prescribe a medication to artificially suppress a number on a piece of paper than it is to uncover the root cause of your vascular inflammation. They treat you like a statistic on a spreadsheet, prioritizing quick fixes over your actual health, vitality, and longevity. I need you to hear me right now, and I need you to truly internalize this. The terrifying spikes in your blood pressure, the heavy fatigue you feel in the afternoon, the fear of losing your independence is not your fault. You did absolutely everything right. You swapped your butter for artificial substitutes when they told you to. You ate the flavorless, low-fat foods. You took the medications exactly as prescribed, enduring the muscle aches, the severe drain on your energy, and the brain fog, all because you wanted to stay healthy for your family. You trusted a system that was supposed to protect you. You have carried the heavy burden of guilt, believing you somehow failed your own heart. But you did not fail. The guidelines failed you. The rushed, profit-driven medical machine failed you. You deserve to live your golden years with absolute dignity and autonomy, not chained to a pharmacy counter or terrified of a sudden cardiovascular event. You deserve to be heard, and you deserve a doctor who looks you in the eye and explains the science of your own biology. We're going to do exactly that right now. We're going to look at the real biological changes happening inside your chest, and I will show you precisely why the old rules are completely wrong for your vascular system. Allow me to bring you into my world for a moment. Step inside the freezing cold of the operating room with me. The monitors are beeping rhythmically, the bright surgical lights are focused, and I'm standing there in my dark scrubs. While I perform a bypass surgery, I have to physically hold the patient's heart. I feel its weight, its desperate rhythm, its struggle. Over the last 10 years, I have felt the profound difference between a vascular system that is thriving and one that is suffocating. And I need to tell you exactly what is happening inside your chest right now, especially because the standard 7-minute clinic visit never gives you this crucial biological truth. Once you cross your 60th birthday, a massive shift occurs in your cardiovascular system. The medical establishment fixates on the gunk floating in your bloodstream, the cholesterol, but they completely ignore the container itself. The inner lining of your blood vessels is called the endothelium. This is not just a passive tunnel. It is a highly active, incredibly intelligent, one-cell thick organ that covers thousands of miles inside your body. When you are young, this endothelial lining produces an abundance of a miracle molecule called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is the ultimate peacekeeper. It relaxes the blood vessels, keeps them wide open, and ensures a powerful, effortless flow of oxygen-rich blood to your brain, your limbs, and your heart muscle. But as we age, and as we are bombarded by modern processed foods and environmental stressors, our natural production of nitric oxide plummets. By the time you reach 65 or 70, your nitric oxide levels can drop by more than half. Without that vital molecule, your blood vessels lose their flexibility. They become stiff, rigid, and highly reactive. Now, add chronic systemic inflammation to this environment. This inflammation acts like microscopic shards of glass, circulating in your blood and creating tiny, invisible tears along that delicate endothelial lining. This is the exact moment the medical system gets it completely backward. When your body detects these dangerous micro tears in the vessel walls, it sends an emergency repair crew to fix the damage. That repair crew is cholesterol. Cholesterol arrives at the scene to patch the microscopic wounds and stop your blood vessels from literally falling apart. When the hurried doctor looks at your blood test and sees high cholesterol, they declare it the ultimate villain. They prescribe harsh medications to shut down the repair crew. But shutting down the repair crew does absolutely nothing to stop the microscopic shards of glass that are tearing up your vessels in the first place. This is why so many patients suffer from profound fatigue, memory issues, and muscle pain from these prescriptions, yet still live in absolute terror of experiencing a sudden morning heart attack. The root cause, the endothelial inflammation, is left completely untreated. To truly understand this, think of the inside of a brand new, premium nonstick cooking pan. When you're 30 years old, your blood vessels are exactly like that flawless nonstick surface. The blood glides effortlessly. Nothing sticks, but chronic inflammation, driven by the hidden sugars and harsh chemicals in our modern environment, is like taking coarse steel wool and violently scrubbing that beautiful non-stick pan day after day. After a few years, the surface is heavily scratched, gouged, and ruined. Now, when the body sends cholesterol to heal the area, it gets caught in those deep scratches. It builds up. It hardens. The traditional medical approach is to aggressively attack the cholesterol. But common sense tells you that the real solution is to stop using the steel wool and to start repairing the scratched surface. The science absolutely backs this up, even if the outdated guidelines refuse to acknowledge it. A landmark clinical trial published in the New England Journal of Medicine, known as the CANTOS trial, proved this very mechanism. The researchers discovered that dramatically lowering systemic inflammation in the body led to a massive reduction in cardiovascular events, independent of cholesterol levels. Let me say that again so it sinks in. They reduce the risk of heart attacks and strokes significantly without lowering cholesterol any further, simply by putting out the biological fire. This is the exact science you need to empower yourself. You do not have to live in fear of your own body. You do not have to accept that cognitive decline, heavy limbs, and a failing heart are just normal parts of getting older. When you support your biology properly, your body possesses a remarkable, profound ability to reverse the damage and heal that endothelial lining. You can restore your natural vitality and protect your independence. But how exactly do you stop the steel wool? How do you throw a blanket over that systemic fire and switch your nitric oxide production back on, without spending a single dime on new medications or enduring a dangerous surgery? The answer is hiding in a simple, natural protocol that the medical industry cannot patent. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how to do it right now. We are moving away from the fear-based narratives of the past and into a space of absolute empowerment. I want to give you the tools that the billion-dollar pharmaceutical industry cannot put in a bottle. These are steps I have seen work in my own practice, and they focus on repairing that delicate endothelial lining and extinguishing the internal fire without the need for another prescription. You do not need a gym membership, and you certainly do not need to spend a fortune on superfoods. You need to understand how to signal your own body to start healing. The first step is a technique that costs nothing and takes less than 60 seconds, but its impact on your vascular health is profound. I call it the nitric oxide reset. As we discussed, your body's ability to produce this miracle molecule drops as you age, but you can force a surge of it through your system simply by changing how you breathe. Most people are chest breathers, which signals stress to the heart. I want you to practice deep nasal breathing, inhaling through your nose for 4 seconds, holding for 2, and exhaling slowly for 6. When you breathe through your nose, you activate the paranasal sinuses, which are essentially nitric oxide factories. This simple shift signals your blood vessels to relax and dilate immediately. Practice this for 60 seconds every morning before you even get out of bed. It is the first step in reclaiming the autonomy that the system tried to take from you. The second step is something that directly addresses the stiffness of your arteries. It is a 60-second isometric hold. Research has shown that isometric exercises, specifically gripping an object with force, can have a significant effect on lowering systolic blood pressure. You don't need weights. Simply take a small towel, roll it up, and squeeze it with about 30% of your maximum strength for 60 seconds. This creates a temporary restriction in blood flow. When you release, your body sends a rush of blood through the vessels, which actually helps stretch and improve the elasticity of that endothelial lining we talked about. This is a simple, natural trick that keeps you out of a nursing home and keeps your independence intact. Now, we must address the inflammation directly through what you put in your body. Step 3 is the morning anti-inflammatory cocktail. Forget the sugary orange juice that the food industry told you is healthy. Instead, start your day with 16 ounces of room temperature water, a squeeze of fresh lemon, and a tiny pinch of high-quality sea salt. I know, the system told you salt is the enemy, but for many seniors, a lack of the right minerals is what causes the heart to struggle. The lemon provides vitamin C to support the collagen in your vessel walls, while the trace minerals in the salt help balance your electrolytes, reducing the workload on your heart as you transition from sleep to activity. This is about treating the root cause, not just masking a symptom. Step 4 is the most important for your next doctor's visit. I want you to become your own advocate. Instead of accepting a new pill because a number on a chart is slightly elevated, I want you to take a seat and ask your physician one specific question. What is my hs-CRP level? This stands for high sensitivity C-reactive protein. This is a direct measure of that systemic inflammation, the steel wool we talked about. If your doctor focuses only on cholesterol but ignores your CRP, they're missing the fire while staring at the smoke. By asking for this specific test, you are no longer just a number. You are an informed patient who understands that quality of life is more important than a pharmaceutical guideline. The science behind these steps is grounded in biological reality. When you combine nasal breathing, isometric holds, and proper mineral hydration, you are essentially cleaning the pan and restoring the nonstick surface of your arteries. You're giving your body the signal that it is safe to heal. This isn't about living forever. It's about living with dignity, making sure you are the one making the decisions about your health, and never being treated as just another senior in a waiting room again. You have the power to reverse the damage and support your biology starting tonight. As a surgeon who has stood by many bedsides, I must speak to you with total honesty. The insights I have shared today are for general educational purposes only. I am not your personal doctor, and I do not know the unique intricacies of your medical journey. It is vital that you do not stop any prescribed medications or alter your current treatments without professional guidance. My goal is to empower you with the knowledge to have a much better, more informed conversation with your own physician. Bring these points to your next visit and advocate for yourself so you can finally take the reins of your own health. You are the CEO of your body, and your doctor is your consultant. Your health is the most valuable asset you own, and for too long, you have been forced to navigate a system that treats your vitality like a line item on a budget sheet. You are not just a number on a chart. You are a person with a story, a family, and a future that belongs to you, not a pharmaceutical company or a clinic that only gives you 7 minutes of their time. If this message resonated with you today, I want to ask you to do something that could quite literally save a life. Please share this video right now with your spouse, your siblings, or a friend who is over 60. We need to reach as many people as possible before they are pushed into an unnecessary procedure or a prescription that steals their joy. I also want to hear from you directly. Drop a comment below and tell me, what was your blood pressure reading today? Let us start a conversation where you are finally the one being heard and validated. If you have not already, click that subscribe button and join our community. We are building a movement of seniors who are taking their power back and taking the reins of their own health. Now, if you want to know about the common pills that might actually be toxic to your system, you need to watch the video appearing on your screen right now. I will see you over there to continue this journey toward the dignity and autonomy you deserve.